So I broke a cardinal rule of being a photographer, but I did it for you guys. Hey you guys, Nick here. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Nick. I'm a professional photographer. I've been shooting professionally for approximately 3 years now, though I've had a camera in my hand for the last 16. And for those of you who are checking out another video, thank you guys again so much for joining me. You might recognize this station as where we did our tintypes, or where we made our dry plates for tintype photography. We're in the middle of a move right now, and I actually haven't been in front of the camera for about 3 or 4 weeks since we were in Steamboat, because I made a couple of videos up there and then I had some videos backlogged for before that. So here we are in front of my workstation and my antiquated desktop computer, and as you can see, there is an image on the computer right now. And before we get into the cardinal rule of photography I broke, I wanted to discuss raw photography, or shooting in RAW as a lot of people call it. So the reason you shoot in RAW is because RAW format with your camera is it takes in all of the information of the photo, and when you bring up the photo on your desktop, and I'll share an image real quick of what that looks like, it looks very plain, it looks very boring, dull almost. There's not a lot of good shadow work, there's not really a lot of detail, or the color might not even be correct. And the reason we shoot in RAW is because of the amount of information it has. So let me minimize this. So the first photo that I'm going to show you here is a raw image, essentially. There's no editing been done, it hasn't been cleaned up at all. This is as shot. And as you can see, it's kind of plain, it's kind of boring, there's not really a whole lot going on. Now if we move to the sunlight setting, because the nice thing about shooting in RAW is with your editing software, I use Lightroom, you can change the light balance. So you don't have to pick the light balance with your camera. If you're shooting in JPEG, it's important to have the light balance set because you can't change it afterwards. So we're gonna move from the raw image to just sunlight, and all I've done here is adjusted the white balance. So as you can see, it is a warmer tone. It's more of a proper white balance. We were shooting actually in a shady day. We had a nice overcast sky, which gave us some really good soft light. So then we moved to shade, and it's not quite as warm. The whites are better from what you can see. There's a little bit more tonage interface. It looks more proper of a standard portrait. After shade, we moved to cloudy, and cloudy is a little bit even warmer so than shade was. It's almost got kind of an orangish tint to it. After shade, we move to this image, which is in tungsten. It is a very bluey image. It is very cool colored. I do a lot of photos. I start with tungsten. Tungsten is one of my favorites because I like that more dramatic, cool coloring. After tungsten, we move to fluorescent lighting, which is more of a purplish, and fluorescent is my go-to after tungsten when I'm doing the artistic photos, as we explained in the critiquing video, which I will link right there. Is I don't always use, for the most part, I don't ever use standard white balance because I kind of like the tones given to you by using the tungsten or fluorescent, where you get more of the blues or the purples. Sometimes you get a little bit of greens depending on exactly how you shoot. After tungsten, we go to flash. Flash almost looks like sunlight. That's because the flash is supposed to kind of give you that, and flashes are really harsh, especially when you're using the speed light on top of your camera or the built-in flash. You get more of a harsh light. We discussed that in our taking photos of snowflakes video, which I will link right here. And then we're back to the images that I edited, and actually that's the perfect segue to the next portion, where I broke a cardinal rule of photography, but I did it for you guys. So what is this cardinal rule that I have brought up twice now? Basically, the cardinal rule is, as a photographer, is you never share your raw images with anyone else. And the reason for that is it's a lot like giving away your negatives. It is a raw file. Other people can edit it and tweak it and do whatever they want with it, almost to a point where they could, under fair use, make it their own. So it's almost like giving away your artwork for free for someone to use and create their own artwork with, and it's really frowned upon, especially when customers ask for raw images. I've never, ever have given away any raw images until now. So this is where the fun part comes. I actually gave my images to 7 different photographers to let them play around with them. And the reason I did that is because I wanted you guys to see that everyone has a different editing style. It's not just shooting style that we've discussed in the past, where if you have one model, one lighting setup, and 12 different photographers, I think is what I said, everyone would take different photos, different styles, all that. Well, that also applies to editing. And because we're under lockdown right now and we're quarantined, I thought that sending out raw images would be a good way to collaborate and a good way to show you that everyone has a different artistic eye and everyone has their preferences when it comes to editing photos. As you saw in the little montage that we played before we got to this point, kind of my editing style. I did the best I could with my GoPro in one hand, editing with the other hand, and it was a quick edit, and I will show that image at the very end. But before we jump into this, I want to give a special thanks to Paul Beveridge. Paul Beveridge is the one who supplied this wonderful song that we also used in the Jolly Look Street Photography video, which I will link right there. Paul Beveridge is a good friend of mine. He is a musician. Check out his information. It's linked down below, as well as everyone I'm going to mention and talk about in this. So the first photographer whose work we're going to examine, her name is Beatriz. I've known Beatriz for about 11 years now. She's a very talented portrait photographer, does a lot of really cool artistic work, and she also does a cool podcast. If you're into paranormal stuff, check out the Outer Limits, you guys. I will link the Outer Limits down below, as well as her website. So let's take a look at her photo. I'm gonna blast it right on the screen as I look at it. So the first thing I can mention here is she went with a really dark vinaigrette in the edges. The model's skin has been paled up. It adds a nice contrast against the black dress and the black umbrella. There hasn't been a lot of vibrancy brought up, but there's an oval almost around the model that adds a really stunning, almost old-fashioned effect to it. Which goes well with the dress, because I believe the dress is a Victorian dress. Image was taken by me. It was set up by Shayla, and this photo I'm showing now was edited by Beatriz, and Beatriz does the Outer Limits. What I say. So the next photo is actually edited by Briana Kennedy, and I met Breanna Kennedy while looking for people to collab with on a YouTuber Facebook group where we kind of help each other out. We get together and do collaborations and things along those lines. As you can see, she almost went with more of a sepia tone, and she added a Spanish mission, it looks like, in the background. It's sepia, almost black and white. It feels really grainy. It's a beautiful, beautiful job. It looks like the contrast is set up relatively high because you lose some of the details in her hair and in her dress underneath the umbrella, but it definitely adds to that old style photography feeling to it. It definitely adds that old style, that Victorian style that we were kind of trying to achieve with the dress, even though the umbrella is modern. I'd have to say Brianna did a really good job. This is a very beautiful edit. Her link is down below to her YouTube channel. She does DIY crafts and things along those lines. So the next image that I'm going to show was edited by Chenelles Photography. Chanel is a local photographer here in Colorado. I met with her on a local photography group page where we discuss networking, connections, models to work with, as well as potential jobs and meetups. She went with a really classic style portrait edit. It's very, very beautiful. It's very vibrant. The trees are very green. You see the yellows and the greens in the grass, as well as some of the coloring in that asphalt pathway that the model's actually sitting down on. You have a little bit more detail in it than you did in the last photo, just because the contrast wasn't set up quite as high, and there's a little bit less desaturation, so it's more saturated of an image and it's more vibrant. It's very beautiful. This is a very classic style portrait edit, and I think Chanel did a very, very wonderful job. Her information will also be linked down below to her Instagram and her Facebook. So the next image that I'm going to show here is another local photographer, Frank Leboeuf. I hope I pronounced that wrong, Frank. I'm sorry if I didn't. These details are also linked down below. I met him on the same photography local page as I did with Chenelles Photography. This one, he went really all out. He completely changed the background altogether. It looks like she's actually sitting on a lava flow, and the sunburst kind of comes over the umbrella even. It's a very artistic, very flashy style edit. It looks like he might have even added a little bit of backlighting through the umbrella to give an impression that the umbrella is being covered in light in the background. The contrast isn't set quite as high, but you have a lot of detail and clarity in that classic dress and in the umbrella, as well as in the lava flows and the sunlight peering through the clouds. He merged it very smoothly. It almost looks like we were actually on a lava flow. You can't really tell that it's photoshopped because he did such a wonderful job. This edit was done by Nick Del Duca. I met him on a larger photography page. It was more of a regional and not a local one, and he wanted to collaborate on this as well. And this image, again, it kind of has that classical feel to it, but her face is very, very well lit. It's almost a mix of that classic vibrance and clarity that we saw in Chenelles' edit, mixed with the paleness that Beatriz put in her edit without the vinaigretting. So you have a mix of those two to create a really cool, unique image. It fits the area we were in. We were in a cemetery, a very pale look. It adds kind of to that grieving feel and that beauty that was there. It looks like the sun is right there, even though we were on a cloudy day. Now this next one up here is done by Shane Everett Henry. He was actually the winner of my t-shirt that I gave away at 100 subscribers here on YouTube. I met him on Twitter. We have a lot of similar interests. He has a YouTube that I will link down below. Now Shane's edit is very vibrant, the vibrance has been jacked way up. It's very, very beautiful. The contrast is set correctly. The lighting is very, very well done. You can see all the detail of her hair, all the curls in her hair. You can see every little piece of fabric in that dress, as well as the detail and emotion in her face. The vibrancy, or the amount that the green in the trees pops out, as well as the yellow and green of the grass and the color of the asphalt, is very beautifully done. This one feels, again, like a really classical style portrait edit, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's still a beautiful image. It's a beautiful edit. It is very well done. And I believe that Shane actually did a video of the edit, so I will link that down below, as well as his YouTube channel. So you guys make sure you go and check that out. Give him some love. So this last image was edited by Usually Dave, and Usually Dave runs a podcast called Adventures of Creativity. I definitely recommend checking it out. I will link that down below. Now this image right here is a lot darker. It's darker almost how Brianna's was darker, where the contrast is really jacked up and it adds a little bit of that element of darkness and sadness and emotion and drama to it. The vibrance in the background is almost completely gone. The trees are completely black. The trees are completely black, the grass is almost completely yellow. You're not seeing those colors in the asphalt like you did in the other photos. But on the other hand, to contrast all that darkness, he really brought up the whiteness in her face and her hands. It creates a really cool contrast to all the black and all the dark and all the moodiness created by creating a more pale, lighter face. It's very beautiful. It is a very artistic edit. My edits would look similar to that, but I usually add a little bit of textures, and I'll show you guys that image next. But yes, again, that was Usually Dave. So the last image I'm going to show you guys is my edit, and usually when I do a fantasy edit or a high fantasy edit or something really dark and moody, this is the style of edit I go for. As you saw in my editing process, little montage at the very beginning of the video, I actually went through and added textures, two separate textures, one with some vinaigretting and then one that gives a kind of a leather look. So it looks like almost an aged painting, a painting that's been around for a really long time, but I kept the focus on the model and I cropped it in like Usually Dave did in his edit, where there's not as much of the background. And I actually think I cropped it in further than he did. I put it in fluorescent so I'd have more of a purple tone. I brought the saturation down so it wasn't as colorful, wasn't as vibrant. After I did my edits with texture, I brought it back into Lightroom. I jacked the clarity. I brought the clarity down a little bit to give it a softer feel while bringing the contrast up to create a more darker image. And there you have it, you guys. So there you have it, you guys. Those are 8 different edits of the exact same photo, because I shared my raw images, which you're not supposed to do, but I did it anyways. One image, 8 different editing styles from 8 different photographers. Everyone has a different eye, everyone has a different interest, everyone has a different editing style. And the key to being a really good photographer is finding your style and making it your own. Now, I'll still go out and I will try different styles. I try to keep myself as versatile as possible so I can do as many jobs as possible. But my favorite things are those really dark, really artistic, really kind of moody photos. But I want to give a special thanks again to all our collaborators. We had Beatriz, who is a photographer, as well as a podcaster. She does the Outer Limits podcast. Briana Kennedy, who's a photographer and a YouTuber. I will link all of their stuff down below. Chenelles Photography, a photographer here in Northern Colorado. I will link her information below. Leboeuf, I hope I pronounced that correctly. It is a really cool last name. Also another photographer here in Colorado. Definitely check out his work. His information is down below. Nick Del Duca, another photographer. I am linking his Instagram. Definitely go check his stuff out. He's very talented. His work is very, very beautiful. Shane Everett Henry, he's a YouTuber, you guys. He does a lot of that inspirational stuff. He's also a photographer. I will link his YouTube channel down below, so go check him out. And lastly, usually Dave. I call him usually Dave because that's his Twitter. I know that's not his real name, and Dave, I hope you like that. But he is a podcaster and a photographer. I'm going to link his podcast down below. It's called Adventures in Creativity. I'm also going to link his merchandise store down below because his t-shirts are pretty cool. His podcast is awesome. I listen to it every week, and I've been listening to The Outer Limits since they started because I've known Beatriz for so long. Definitely go check that out. Check everyone's photography stuff out, you guys. Make sure you like their stuff. Comment them stuff, leave them some love. If you guys haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit that, like this video, leave a comment, and share it if you enjoyed it. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I will catch you on the flip side with a vlog coming up this week about some new Jolly Look announcements, and then Ask Me Anything next weekend. So you guys have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye.
It's sent.